welcome back to our channel. In the world of coin collecting, there are few items that capture the imagination and excitement of enthusiasts quite like the 1964 U.S. 1-cent penny. A seemingly modest coin, it is perhaps one of the most well-known and cherished pieces in American numismatics. The 1964 penny carries with it not just a story of its design and minting, but a connection to a moment in history, a time when the United States was undergoing a period of great change and growth. But there's more to this coin than its historical context, and its value today is nothing short of remarkable. To understand the allure of the 1964 penny, we must first take a step back in time to 1964. The United States was at the height of the post-World War II economic boom. The country was flourishing, with high economic growth, rising incomes, and an ever-expanding middle class. It was also a year marked by significant historical events. In the political realm, President Lyndon B. Johnson had just taken office after the tragic assassination of President John F. Kennedy in 1963. The U.S. was deeply involved in the Vietnam War, and the civil rights movement was gaining momentum across the nation. But amidst these major changes, something as small and humble as a coin was being minted, one that would one day become a true numismatic treasure. The design of the 1964 penny remains largely familiar to anyone who has handled U.S. currency. For decades, the penny featured the image of President Abraham Lincoln on its obverse, a design that was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. The original design by sculptor Victor David Brenner shows Lincoln in profile, his face etched with an expression of both resolve and thoughtfulness. The reverse side of the coin, meanwhile, displayed a simple but powerful design featuring two wheat stalks, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots. This wheat penny design remained in use for nearly half a century, making it one of the most iconic images in American coinage. The 1964 penny, like its predecessors, was struck in a copper composition, a material that gave the coin its distinct color and durability. At this point, the penny was still made primarily of copper, which was a key characteristic of U.S. coinage throughout much of the 20th century. These pennies circulated widely, from the hands of schoolchildren to adults, and were often seen as the least valuable coin in one's pocket change. However, it's not just the design or the material that makes the 1964 penny noteworthy. In fact, this coin is significant for reasons that go far beyond its face value of just 1 cent. The 1964 penny, more than any other penny in history, has earned its place in the annals of numismatic lore due to a rare and remarkable error, a mistake made during the minting process that would make certain examples of the coin worth far more than their original value. As with many rare coins, it's this mistake, coupled with the rarity of the coin and its increasing popularity among collectors, that has driven its value to astronomical heights today. But what exactly happened to make some 1964 pennies so special? Let's take a closer look at the circumstances that turned a seemingly ordinary penny into a coveted treasure. The story begins at the U.S. Mint, where all coins in the United States are produced. The minting process is complex and involves a number of stages, including die preparation, coin striking, and inspection. While the vast majority of coins are struck without issue, there are times when errors slip through the cracks. These errors, often caused by misalignments, improper die usage, or flaws in the minting machinery, can result in coins that deviate from the intended design. In the case of the 1964 penny, a rare and significant error occurred with the placement of the date. Some examples of the 1964 penny feature an unusual anomaly where the number 4 in the date appears doubled or misaligned. This error, known as the 1964 doubled die obverse penny, occurs when the die used to strike the coin is improperly aligned during the minting process. As a result, the number 4 appears more than once on the coin, creating a noticeable doubling effect. This type of error is highly sought after by collectors due to its rarity and the fact that it's not something that can be easily reproduced. The 1964 doubled die obverse penny is, therefore, a prized item in the world of numismatics. Although it's difficult for the casual observer to detect the error, a trained eye can spot the doubling effect on the date. The coin may look almost identical to a regular 1964 penny, but the subtle doubling of the number 4 sets it apart as a rare and valuable find. It's not just any mistake, either. A coin featuring this kind of error is a window into the unpredictable nature of the minting process, a small but significant flaw that adds to the coin's appeal and makes it a must-have for serious collectors. While it may seem hard to believe that such a minor error could result in such high value, the rarity of the 1964 doubled die obverse penny plays a huge role in its worth. With the sheer volume of pennies that were minted in 1964, only a small number of them contain this error. The rarity of the coin means that only a few examples are available on the market at any given time, and as with any rare collectible, demand drives up the price. As collectors compete to add this piece to their collection, the value of the 1964 doubled die obverse penny has steadily risen over the years. But how much is this rare penny worth? The answer, as with many collectible items, depends on a variety of factors, including the coin's condition and the grading it receives from professional grading services. The higher the quality of the coin, meaning, the less wear and tear it shows, the more valuable it becomes. Coins in mint condition can sell for substantially more than those with visible wear, as collectors prize pristine examples that have been well preserved. So, what's the current value of the 1964 doubled die obverse penny? In the world of rare coin auctions, some examples of this coin have sold for impressive amounts. High-quality specimens can fetch anywhere from several $1,000s to well over $100,000, depending on their condition. In fact, in recent years, some of the finest examples of the 1964 doubled die obverse penny have been sold at auction for an eye-popping $165,000. Yes, a coin originally worth just 1 cent, that's right, just a single penny, has become a prized collectible, with a value that exceeds $100,000. This is a remarkable price for a coin that, at the time of its minting, was simply used for everyday transactions. But it's a testament to the allure of rare coins and the fascinating world of numismatics, where even the most humble pieces of currency can evolve into valuable treasures with the passage of time. The 1964 doubled die obverse penny is not just a coin, it's a piece of history, a small reminder of the U.S. Mint's complex and intricate minting process, and a symbol of the thrill of collecting rare items. In conclusion, the 1964 U.S. 1-cent penny, with its iconic design and historical significance, is far more than just another coin in the pocket. When it carries the rare and highly coveted double die obverse error, it becomes a numismatic marvel, a coin that transcends its original value and enters the world of high-end collectibles. With its stunning rise in value, the 1964 doubled die obverse penny serves as a reminder that even the smallest mistakes in history can lead to the creation of treasures that will be cherished for generations to come. So, the next time you reach for a penny, remember that it's not just a small, insignificant piece of currency. It could very well be a 1964 double die obverse penny, and if it is, you could be holding a coin worth $165,000. In the second place, we are going to talk about 1970 U.S. 1-cent penny. At first glance, this seemingly ordinary coin might appear unremarkable. After all, it's just a penny, right? A small, copper-clad piece of currency. But dig a little deeper, and you'll uncover a fascinating story about a coin that would ultimately find its place in the hearts and collections of numismatists across the world. The 1970 penny, especially in certain rare forms, has become a true gem in the world of coin collecting, with one such example commanding a staggering price of $154,000. Let's explore the history, design, minting, and error that turned this humble coin into an object of fascination and desire for collectors. The year 1970 marked an important era in U.S. history. It was a time of social, cultural, and political change, with the Vietnam War dominating the global landscape, the civil rights movement continuing to push for justice and equality, and the United States transitioning into a new decade. Domestically, the country was experiencing significant economic growth, even amidst some turbulent moments, and the economic changes would eventually have an impact on U.S. coinage. In terms of coinage, the late 1960s and early 1970s were years marked by change and experimentation. The U.S. Mint was navigating shifts in materials, composition, and design to accommodate the needs of a growing economy. This was the tail end of the era in which coins were primarily made of silver and copper, and the U.S. Mint had already begun to experiment with different materials due to rising production costs and shortages of certain metals. By 1970, the penny was still made of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, but this would soon change. In fact, the following years would see the composition of the penny shift, reflecting the economic pressures of the time. But let's focus on the 1970 penny. Like its predecessors, the 1970 penny featured the well-known image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. This design, created by Victor David Brenner, had been in place since 1909, and it would continue to adorn the penny for many decades to come. The simple yet powerful portrait of Lincoln in profile, with his face framed by the words, "In God We Trust," has become one of the most recognizable and enduring images in U.S. coinage. On the reverse side of the penny, the design features two wheat stalks, a symbol of the country's agricultural roots. The wheat penny design was introduced in 1909 as well and remained in use until 1958, when it was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial design. However, in 1970, the coin was still being struck with the wheat stalks on its reverse, a feature that would soon become a defining characteristic of the 1970 penny in the eyes of collectors. In 1970, the penny was struck in large quantities, with billions of coins produced by the U.S. Mint to meet the needs of the public. These pennies circulated widely, and for the most part, they were used in everyday transactions like buying candy, stamps, or a bus fare. However, hidden within these billions of coins, there was one very rare feature that would capture the attention of collectors for years to come, an error in the minting process that would elevate the 1970 penny from a simple piece of currency to a coveted item in the world of coin collecting. This error, known as the 1970 small date penny, would become the source of much excitement in the numismatic community. The story of the 1970 small date penny is one that highlights the fascinating world of minting errors and the appeal they have to collectors. What happened in 1970 was that the U.S. Mint produced two different versions of the penny, one with a large date and one with a small date. This wasn't an intentional design choice, rather, it was the result of a mistake in the production process. In the case of the 1970 small date penny, the date on the coin appears to be smaller and slightly different from the large date variety. This seemingly minor difference would go unnoticed by most people, but for collectors, the small date variation became a hot commodity. The small date variety was much rarer than the large date variety, and this discrepancy would later be identified as one of the key factors driving the coin's value. The key to the appeal of the 1970 small date penny is its rarity. Of the billions of pennies struck in 1970, only a very small number were made with the small date. In fact, the number of 1970 small date pennies that were produced is estimated to be just a tiny fraction of the total mintage. This makes the coin incredibly rare and highly sought after by collectors who are constantly searching for that next great find to add to their collection. It's important to note that the 1970 small date penny isn't just valuable because it's rare. The nature of the error itself adds an additional layer of intrigue. Coins that feature minting errors often carry a premium price because they are unique and represent a small piece of the unpredictable nature of the minting process. It's not uncommon for collectors to pay a premium for these coins, simply because they are anomalies in the world of U.S. coinage. Now, let's talk about the value of this rare and sought-after coin. While the 1970 small date penny may have been worth just 1 cent when it was first minted, its value today is exponentially higher. As with many rare coins, the price of the 1970 small date penny can vary depending on the coin's condition. Coins in pristine, uncirculated condition are the most valuable, as collectors prize coins that have been preserved in near-perfect condition. A well-preserved 1970 small date penny can fetch anywhere from hundreds to thousands of dollars. However, the highest quality examples of this rare coin have been known to sell for a jaw-dropping $154,000. That's right, a penny that was once worth just 1 cent can now command a staggering $154,000 at auction, thanks to its rarity, minting error, and the demand from collectors eager to own a piece of U.S. coinage history. The price of this rare coin continues to rise, and as time goes on, the 1970 small date penny is only likely to become more valuable. But why does a coin that was once seen as a simple and inexpensive piece of currency now have such a high price tag? The answer lies in the world of numismatics and the market for rare coins. Collectors are always on the lookout for rare and unique items to add to their collections, and the 1970 small date penny fits the bill perfectly. Its rarity, coupled with its unique minting error, makes it a highly desirable item in the world of coin collecting. The value of the 1970 U.S. small date penny also reflects the broader trend in the world of numismatics, where certain coins, often those with small minting errors or unique features, can become highly valuable over time. In the case of the 1970 U.S. small date penny, the combination of rarity, historical significance, and collector demand has created a perfect storm for skyrocketing value. In conclusion, the 1970 U.S. 1-cent penny might seem like an ordinary coin at first glance, but when you dive into its history and the rare error that makes it so valuable, it becomes clear that this is far more than just pocket change. The 1970 U.S. small date penny, with its unique minting error and rarity, has become one of the most sought-after coins in the world of numismatics, and it continues to captivate collectors and investors alike. With a current value of $154,000, this seemingly modest penny has proven that in the world of coins, even the smallest mistakes can lead to incredible value. So, the next time you hold a 1970 penny in your hand, take a closer look. You might just be holding onto a coin that could be worth far more than you ever imagined. You never know, it could be worth $154,000, and that's a find worth celebrating. The 1976 U.S. 1-cent penny, seemingly a humble coin, holds a fascinating story that stretches far beyond its everyday role in transactions. While it might appear to be just another coin that's often tossed aside in your pocket or change jar, this particular penny is special. It carries with it the echoes of history, changes in U.S. coinage, and even rare errors that have made it highly sought after by collectors. As we dive into the details of the 1976 penny, you'll understand why this small coin, originally valued at just 1 cent, has surged in value to a remarkable $142,000. To begin, let's set the scene. The year 1976 was significant for the United States for more than one reason. It was the bicentennial year, marking 200 years since the signing of the Declaration of Independence in 1776. Across the nation, celebrations were in full swing as Americans reflected on the journey the country had taken and its achievements. The bicentennial year was a time of national pride, and that pride was reflected in many areas, including U.S. coinage. The U.S. Mint had already begun preparations to release special coins to commemorate the milestone, including new designs for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar coin. This era was a significant moment for the Mint, as they introduced the bicentennial designs that would become iconic in their own right. However, in the midst of all these changes, the 1976 penny remained relatively untouched in its design. The familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, created by Victor David Brenner, still adorned the obverse of the coin, just as it had since 1909. Lincoln's solemn profile was framed by the words, "In God we trust," liberty, and the date. The reverse side of the coin, however, remained the same as it had been since the wheat ears reverse design was replaced by the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. Despite the fact that this penny hadn't received any special bicentennial treatment like the other coins, its historical context would still play a role in its appeal, especially among collectors looking to uncover rare and unique coins. Though the coin itself may not have been redesigned for the bicentennial, the 1976 penny is still interesting in its own right, as it was a part of an era when the U.S. Mint was grappling with changes in the economic landscape. In the 1970s, inflation was a serious concern, and many changes were occurring in U.S. coinage. The most notable change during this period was the increasing cost of producing coins. The U.S. Mint was facing rising metal prices, and it would soon have to transition to a different composition for many of its coins, including the penny. However, in 1976, the penny was still being produced using the traditional copper composition, 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. This classic composition gave the 1976 penny its distinctive color, and despite the economic pressures mounting on the Mint, the design and material choices of the 1976 penny would soon prove to be important in ways that no one could have predicted. As is often the case in the world of numismatics, it wasn't the ordinary pennies that would become valuable, but rather a rare mistake that would make a small group of these pennies highly collectible. And this brings us to the most exciting aspect of the 1976 penny, the error that has captivated coin collectors for decades. Like many coins minted by the U.S. Mint, the 1976 penny was produced in huge quantities, circulating widely across the United States. However, a number of 1976 pennies were struck with a rare and fascinating error. In this case, it was the minting of what is known as the 1976 double die obverse penny. So, what is a double die obverse penny, and why is it so important? A double die obverse coin is the result of a mistake that occurs during the minting process. Essentially, when the dies used to strike the coins are improperly aligned or double struck, the result is a coin that exhibits a noticeable doubling of the images on the obverse. For the 1976 penny, this doubling is most noticeable on the date and the word Liberty. The doubling effect occurs when the die used to strike the coin fails to align properly with the planchet, the blank metal disc that becomes a coin, causing the design to be stamped more than once in slightly different positions. For collectors, this error is highly desirable because it creates a coin that is unique. Coins with double die errors are one of the most sought-after categories of collectible coins, as they offer a glimpse into the imperfections and quirks of the minting process. The 1976 double die obverse penny is a prime example of this, with its double date and lettering standing out to those with a keen eye for detail. The value of this error penny can vary greatly depending on its condition, but high-quality examples can fetch impressive sums. Coins that have been well preserved, free from major wear, and show the doubling effect clearly are the most valuable. These rare and well-preserved 1976 double die obverse pennies are prized by collectors for their rarity and historical significance. In fact, certain specimens of this coin have been known to sell for as much as $142,000 at auction. Yes, you read that correctly. A penny originally worth just 1 cent, thanks to a minting error, has now achieved a remarkable value of $142,000. The rarity of the coin and its status as a coveted error make it one of the most valuable pennies in circulation today. And it's not just the numismatic community that has taken notice. Investors, collectors, and even casual coin enthusiasts keep an eye out for this particular penny, knowing that a well-preserved example could be worth a small fortune. The allure of the 1976 double die obverse penny lies not only in its rarity and minting error but also in the excitement it generates within the coin collecting community. Imagine stumbling upon one of these rare pennies, knowing that you found a treasure worth thousands of dollars, if not more. For coin collectors, the thrill of discovery is part of what makes the hobby so enjoyable, and for those lucky enough to find a 1976 double die obverse penny, it's a moment of pure excitement. But why is this coin so valuable? It all comes down to the rarity of the error, the demand from collectors, and the limited number of high-quality coins that remain in circulation. As time goes on and fewer examples are found, the value of this coin will only continue to rise, making it an even more attractive investment for collectors. As with most rare coins, it's the scarcity and the story behind the coin that elevate it from an everyday piece of currency to a sought-after collector's item. The 1976 penny serves as a perfect example of how small errors in the minting process can lead to coins that become highly valuable. What was once an ordinary piece of change, part of the everyday flow of commerce, has now become an object of desire for coin enthusiasts. It's a coin that, in many ways, tells the story of the unpredictability of the minting process and the incredible journey that some coins take from ordinary currency to extraordinary collectibles. So, as you search through your spare change or browse the coin bins at your local shop, keep an eye out for a 1976 penny. While most of them are still worth just 1 cent, there's a rare subset that could be worth far more, a penny that could fetch up to $142,000. With its minting error and its place in U.S. coinage history, the 1976 double die obverse penny is a prime example of how the world of coin collecting is filled with stories of hidden treasures and remarkable finds. In conclusion, the 1976 U.S. 1-cent penny might have seemed like just another coin at the time, but for those in the know, it's much more than that. It's a symbol of rarity, history, and the excitement of the hunt. With a current value of $142,000, this penny serves as a reminder that even the smallest coins can carry great value and significance. So, keep your eyes peeled, you never know when you might stumble upon a coin that could make you rich. A small penny today could become a $142,000 treasure tomorrow. The 1995 U.S. 1-cent penny is often overlooked in the realm of coin collecting, as many people tend to view it as a mere piece of pocket change. After all, it's just a penny, a small, copper-colored coin that is commonly used in everyday transactions. But this seemingly ordinary penny carries with it a remarkable story, one that begins with its minting in 1995, takes us through changes in U.S. coinage, and ends with an extraordinary value of $126,000 for certain rare examples. The story of the 1995 penny is a reminder that even the most mundane items can hold immense historical and collector value, especially when they come with a unique twist. So, let's take a deeper dive into the rich history, design, and appeal of the 1995 U.S. penny, and uncover what makes it so special and valuable today. The history of the 1995 penny, like most U.S. coinage, is rooted in the evolution of the nation's economic needs and the materials available to meet them. By 1995, the penny was still composed primarily of copper, 95% copper and 5% zinc, just as it had been since the early 20th century. But the penny's journey through American history had been a long and varied one, marked by several notable design changes, material shifts, and economic challenges. Since 1909, the penny had been graced by the image of Abraham Lincoln, an iconic symbol of American leadership and values. The design, created by artist Victor David Brenner, had become a constant presence in American currency, with Lincoln's profile appearing on the obverse of the coin. Over the years, the reverse design of the penny also evolved. From 1909 to 1958, the penny featured two ears of wheat, representing the nation's agricultural roots, an image that became known as the wheat penny. In 1959, the design shifted to feature the Lincoln Memorial, another nod to Lincoln's legacy, which would remain the design on the reverse of the penny until 2008, when a new series of designs commemorating Lincoln's life was introduced. By the time the 1995 penny was struck, the design on the reverse side of the coin was still the Lincoln Memorial, a design that had been in place for nearly 40 years. The obverse, of course, still carried Lincoln's iconic profile, a design that had been unchanged for over 8 decades. So, while the 1995 penny was hardly groundbreaking in terms of design, it was still a part of the larger story of American coinage and the nation's ongoing evolution. The 1995 penny, produced in large numbers by the U.S. Mint, circulated widely across the country, just like its predecessors. These pennies found their way into registers, cash drawers, and pocket change, where they would be exchanged in everyday transactions. Most of the 1995 pennies, like most coins, were standard issue, meant to serve their purpose as small units of currency. However, this year would see an interesting twist that would make certain 1995 pennies stand out in the world of numismatics. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1995 penny so unique, particularly for collectors who know what to look for. As with many coins, errors or variations can occur during the minting process, and when they do, they can create some of the most sought-after items in the coin collecting world. The 1995 penny is no exception, with one specific variety of error making this coin incredibly valuable to collectors. One of the most famous varieties of the 1995 penny is the 1995 double die obverse penny. The double die error occurs when the coin's die, a tool used to strike the design into the blank planchet, the metal disc, becomes misaligned during the minting process. This misalignment causes the design to be struck twice, resulting in a noticeable doubling effect. In the case of the 1995 penny, the double die error is most apparent in the date and the word Liberty. The doubling effect can also be seen on the inscription, "In God We Trust," and other parts of the coin. However, the doubling is most visible on the date, where the numbers appear to be stacked on top of each other. What makes the 1995 double die obverse penny so special is the rarity of the error. Although the 1995 penny was produced in large quantities, only a small number of them were struck with the double die error. The coins that feature this error are highly prized by collectors, as they represent a unique mistake in the minting process. And as is often the case with rare minting errors, the value of these coins has skyrocketed over time, with certain examples fetching remarkable prices at auctions and from private collectors. The appeal of the 1995 double die obverse penny is not just about its rarity, it's also about the historical significance of the error. Minting errors like this one provide a fascinating glimpse into the imperfect nature of the minting process, and they serve as a reminder that even the most highly regulated systems are not immune to flaws. For collectors, This makes the 1995 penny with the double die error a valuable piece of numismatic history. It's a coin that tells a story of imperfection, rarity, and the sometimes unpredictable nature of mass production. But how much is a 1995 double die obverse penny worth? Well, the value of these rare coins can vary greatly depending on their condition. Coins that are in pristine, uncirculated condition, free from scratches, discoloration, or significant wear, are the most valuable. High-quality examples of the 1995 double die obverse penny can fetch anywhere from several $1,000s to tens of thousands, depending on the grade. However, the top-tier examples, those in almost perfect condition, have been known to sell for as much as $126,000 at auction. Yes, you read that right, $126,000 for a penny that was once worth just 1 cent. So, what makes a penny like this worth so much? The simple answer is rarity, demand, and the allure of the error. As with many other rare coins, the 1995 double die obverse penny's value is driven by the fact that it's difficult to find. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for coins that are unique or feature minting errors, as these coins are often seen as one-of-a-kind treasures. The appeal of holding a piece of history, a coin that was struck with a flaw that makes it different from the millions of others minted that year, is something that collectors find incredibly attractive. Beyond the immediate appeal of the double die error, there's also a sense of pride that comes with owning such a rare piece of U.S. history. For numismatists and investors, owning a 1995 double die obverse penny is not just about the monetary value, it's about the story behind the coin. It's about holding a physical piece of history in your hand, a coin that was struck in 1995, with all its imperfections, and has gone on to become one of the most valuable pennies in the world. As we look to the future, it's likely that the value of the 1995 double die obverse penny will continue to rise. As more time passes, the number of well-preserved examples decreases, and the rarity of this coin becomes even more pronounced. With the growing interest in coin collecting and the increasing number of collectors around the world, it's not hard to imagine that the 1995 double die obverse penny will continue to be a highly sought-after item for years to come. In conclusion, the 1995 U.S. 1-cent penny may have seemed like just another coin when it was minted, but it's a perfect example of how small imperfections can lead to extraordinary value. Whether it's the rarity of the double die error or the historical significance of the coin, the 1995 penny has earned its place as one of the most valuable pennies in the world today. With a current value of $126,000 for certain well-preserved examples, this seemingly ordinary penny is far from ordinary. It's a rare treasure, a testament to the unpredictable nature of coin production, and a shining example of the excitement that comes with discovering hidden gems in the world of numismatics. So, next time you handle a 1995 penny, remember, there could be more to that small piece of change than meets the eye. With the right eye for detail and the knowledge of what to look for, you might just have a valuable treasure worth $126,000, or more, right in your pocket.